why is it not such a great idea for someone that's brand new, that's listening to these gurus, tell them, go and buy a 20 or 40 unit first, or 100 unit, whatever they say first, because nothing else makes sense. You can't scale. Why is that not such sound advice?
It's setting the first step, which is always the hardest step. It's making the very first step a hell of a step, a doozy, and I think that is a mistake. And as a teacher in this business, that's one thing I find is most people don't really know what is the first step or what is the next step. They get stuck. They're like, okay, I know I should be buying real estate. I know I should have a market. I know I should do these things. Okay, but how? Like, what? Great, all these theories, but what is the next step I need to take right now? And that's what I help people really learn is what is that actionable next step? And if the next step is, you just need to go close some giant deal that has a low probability of success, what you're doing is you're telling that student to take that very first step is not a baby step. Now it's this kind of gigantic leap. And I think that increases the probability of failure in a new student. And that's why I say it's not good advice in a bubble. You have to take that kind of advice and say, okay, we're going to go as big as you can. And this is what I teach my students. You want to follow the old 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, you want to be looking at deals that have the highest probability of closing. 20% of the time, fine, let's go look at these big giant deals that may be outside of your capability or outside of your probability of closing. So then I sit down with the student and I say, okay, well, then we got to figure out what fits into this 80 percentile for you. All right, one thing you got to understand about commercial real estate, and there's lots, but one thing is that to qualify for these loans, you have to have net worth equal to or greater than the loan amount. All right, so right there's your number one metric. What you want to do is you want to say, what is my net worth plus immediate friends and family, right? What is aggregate net worth, right? Friends, family. We're going to take that number and translate that into number of units in your market, right? And that's why that's very different. Let's say I'm worth $1 million and I say, okay, how many units can I get in Atlanta, Georgia for $1 million? Well, that's a very different number than the amount of units I'm going to get in LA, Miami, New York, or, Brownsville, Texas, or the middle of Cowfield somewhere. Very, very different all over the country. But your net worth, your loan qualification is static. That's your net worth, right? That stays static. So just translate that into number of units whenever you go to a different market, your market. There's your 80%, right? There's where you want to get started.